Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. The United States of America by its attorney Morris Pasqual, acting United States Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, pursuant to Appellate Rule 26 moved the court for another 30-day extension of time to and including November 30, 2023 to file its brief in R. Kelly's Illinois case. To support its motion, the government again incorporated the attached affidavit of Assistant United States Attorney Brian Williamson. Currently, the government brief was due for October 31, 2023, but an extension has been requested and granted to and including November 30, 2023. We also know that on August 2, 2023, after receiving extensions of 30, 45 and 30 days, R. Kelly through her lawyer Jennifer Bonjean filed his brief with this court. Someone curious can rightly wonder whether government also wants to exhaust its deadline before filing its brief. The reasons given for the extension majorly remain indifferent from the previous ones. The government cites the fact that Brian Williamson has a substantial workload and backlog, noting that there are 15 cases still pending in the district court that need urgent attention in line with the Speedy Trial Act. We can also recall that R. Kelly is in custody serving a 240-month prison term concurrent in part with a separate term of imprisonment related to proceedings in the Eastern District of New York. The government says that Jennifer Bonjean does not object to this motion. The government has always acknowledged the complexity of this trial and often admits to the need for very serious research, especially on the legal misinterpretations brought out by Bonjean. It seems that the government is finding it quite difficult to get convincing counter-information and answers to Bonjean's concerns. Given that the court has not yet fixed the dates for the oral argument, there seems to be no reason for the government to rush the proceedings of this appeal case. This is the government's third request for an extension of time to file its brief in this case. However, Williamson stresses the fact that the motion to extend time is not brought to delay the proceedings and that he will give due diligence and priority to preparing the government brief. The appeal will be handled in the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit by the presiding judge, Honorable Harry Leinenweber. Certainly, by all means, frequent requests for extensions in a legal case may be perceived as a sign of weakness or inefficiency in certain situations. I am not saying the government is weak in this case, but for sure one can't fail to suspect that it is spending some sleepless nights on this. The case is complex and Bonjean's arguments are for sure going to be difficult to challenge. Nevertheless, if a party consistently requests extensions due to lack of preparation, it may suggest that they are not adequately organized or ready to present their case. It may also be seen as a tactic to delay proceedings, potentially in the hope of gaining a tactical advantage. In this case, the delay could be seen as an effort to keep R. Kelly in prison a little bit longer than he will. It's also a fact that one can actually think that the government is struggling to gather the necessary evidence and repeatedly needs more time to do so. It may indicate a challenge in building a strong case against R. Kelly. It can also imply that a party is having trouble settling on a clear legal strategy, which can be seen as a sign of uncertainty. Inability to avoid relaxing adherence to legal obligations might suggest a lack of control over the case. It's important to note that while these situations can raise concerns, they do not automatically mean a case is weak. Legal proceedings can be complex, and sometimes extensions are genuinely needed for valid reasons. Needless to say, though, is the fact that extensions help ensure that all parties involved have adequate time to prepare their case, present evidence, and make legal arguments. This upholds the principle of due process, which is fundamental to a fair and just legal system. I am sure Bonjean knows this and probably is the reason she has not opposed any of the government requests in this regard. We should all admit that R. Kelly's case is quite complex and thus requiring adequate time for extensive research, gathering evidence and formulating legal arguments. It's our prayer that these extensions allow the government to thoroughly prepare their cases, which can lead to better informed and more effective presentations and ability to identify and admit the errors that it could have made in this contentious R. Kelly case. In complex cases like this one, more time may be needed to properly analyze and address intricate legal issues, ensuring a thorough and well-considered resolution. But let's us not forget that these extensions in time can also be misused. Parties may seek extensions as a tactic to gain a tactical advantage, hoping to inconvenience or exhaust the opposing party. This can be a deliberate attempt to delay proceedings in the hopes that it will weaken the other side's position. The intention of obstructing or frustrating the progress of the case through extensions is also a reality. This can be done to make it more difficult for the opposing party to build their case, or to wear them down through prolonged legal battles. Delays could also be made in a bid to avoid accountability. One of the parties might use repeated requests for extensions to avoid facing the consequences of their actions. They might, for example, delay responding to legal inquiries or producing evidence that could be damaging to their case. We all know that R. Kelly is faced with some financial strain. Repeated seeking of extensions can increase the financial burden on him, particularly since he is paying legal fees and incurring other costs associated with the case. We cannot also run away from the fact that excessive or unjustified requests for extensions can erode confidence in the legal system. If parties believe they can manipulate the process without consequences, it can lead to a breakdown in respect for the court's authority. Misusing extensions can prolong the time it takes to reach a resolution, potentially denying parties timely access to justice. While extensions are a valuable tool in the legal process, it's essential that they are requested and granted judiciously. Excessive or unjustified requests for extensions can potentially disrupt the proceedings, and lead to delays that are detrimental to the efficient administration of justice. Therefore, courts should typically review extension requests to ensure they are warranted and reasonable. It's important for courts to carefully evaluate extension requests to ensure they are warranted and in the interest of justice. Judges have the authority to deny extensions if they believe they are being requested in bad faith or are not in the best interest of the proceedings. Efforts should be made within the legal system to prevent and address unjustified delays, including setting clear procedural timelines, imposing penalties for unnecessary delays, and providing mechanisms for parties to seek remedies for prolonged proceedings. It is essential for courts and legal professionals to work diligently to ensure that justice is administered in a timely and fair manner. We know that R. Kelly is currently held up in prison and any single delay matters. We the supporters are quite optimistic that this appeal will set him free. The signs are already visible and promising. With his legal team led by Jennifer Bonjean, we know it's just a matter of time. We want R. Kelly out of prison sooner than later. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.